Hello everyone, welcome to another episode of Sunday Marvel News. Today is going to be episode 21. This week it's been a bit, weird with news type of thing because here and there it's just, got a bit weird. There's like news spreading like throughout the week, sprinkled briefly, like not like big huge news like last week with the likes of Scotty Weaver being in the Defenders and stuff like that. So this week is going to be a bit of a quick one. I've only got 7 things to talk about, and then we can wrap the show up. First of all, the first topic is going to be, I'll just put it up on my screen now, is going to be the Doctor Strange runtime. The Doctor Strange runtime has been reportedly to be around about 2 hours long, possibly like an hour and 55 minutes. I think this is kind of a good thing because the Marvel movie so far has been quite like an hour and a half type thing. So it's good that we're going to get a more of an extended like look, like they didn't cut anything out of the movie type thing. So I'm really looking forward to Doctor Strange and seeing how this run time will fan out, and hopefully it's going to be a good movie, The second topic is going to be Kevin Feige talks more on Avengers 3 and Avengers 4. If you heard that, I'm sorry. Just had earphones on and stuff. So, going on straight on to the Kevin Feige news, he was talking more about how there's going on. So, I'm going to read out the quote that he said, and then we will discuss it further. So he says, "There's a reason we have publicly called the first one Infinity War, and the second one Untitled, because the movies we were developing were not there's a connection there are with all our movies, but it's not the first part and the second part. It's a whole movie and a whole story, and then the whole movie and a whole story. That's about all I can say. It's certainly inspired by everything that has come before and everything that is hinted at before. We'll be intercutting a lot of stories in that movie, in a lot of different locations, as it sort of is in the Avengers movies as well. Who is facing off against who? In this movie, it's going to be a fun mix. It's going to be a fun mix up with that. One of the things that's great about Infinity Gauntlet is everybody tired to go up against Thanos, whether they were godlike powers or not, because that's what Avengers do. The fun about those two movies, what we are doing it especially at the same time, it is everybody's there. So he pretty much confirmed that everybody possibly from Netflix, from Agents of Shield, like including Ghost Rider and the Punisher, are all going to be there in some capacity, because we've had some. He confirmed that there'll be multiple location things happening throughout the movies. Like maybe one of them could be set in Hell's Kitchen. Maybe one of them could be set in Harlem and see what Luke Cage and Daredevil and Jessica Jones are going to do type thing. And one of them could be set in Los Angeles, where Ghost Rider and Daisy Johnson stood, where they operate in. And all those different things and Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. could be moved in there, sort of thing. But I think somebody brought this up once about Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. ending at season 4, which I think is a pretty good idea, because how are you going to continue Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. itself with the fact you introduced Ghost Rider and all these dark different things with the supernatural elements now? Obviously, you've done Hydra, you've done everything under the sun by now with Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. So I think when this show ends, obviously Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. is public now. The Shield is public now, and all of your thing with Patriot. So all these different things. So I reckon it's going to end this season, which is unfortunate to say because this season has been absolutely amazing. So obviously we might see Phil Coulson and Agent May doing stuff, and they're recorded by, I don't know, Tony Stark or Captain America and all different things. So it's a pretty good thing that we had confirmed, in a way that everyone's going to be involved in some capacity. So it's really good, to be honest. Like it makes sense for him to say whether they have god powers or not, they're going to be in this fight because they're the Avengers and that's what they do. So I like the fact that Kevin confirmed but not confirmed it type of thing, like just kept it swooped in the middle. So that's very, very good, and I am looking forward to Avengers Infinity War, to be honest. I'm so looking forward to it. The next piece of news is going to be Moon Knight possibly being in the Defenders. This came up recently when the Defenders obviously were announced a couple of years ago, and obviously Sigourney Weaver is going to be in the Defenders series, and like some speculation online about are they going to introduce Moon Knight into the Netflix universe, which I was thinking, well, they are going to introduce Moon Knight probably in the next phase of these Netflix shows, maybe towards the end of it, because we got the Defenders TV series, but if they put in Moon Knight in the Defenders TV series, I think that will be a bit too overcrowded because you have Daredevil, Luke Cage, Jessica Jones, Iron Fist, Misty Knight, Claire Temple, Stick, who else? Sigourney Weaver's character, or all these different people all in one show. John Bernthal, all these people in one show, and obviously it's 8 episodes long. So if they briefly just say, yeah, there's this other guy wearing a weird white costume running around New York killing people, you can just say something like that, then you can just walk away from it. I mean, that would be a good reference, to be honest. Yeah, so that's the Moon Knight being in the Defenders type thing out of the way. Next up is going to be Forest Whitaker has been officially confirmed to be in the upcoming Black Panther movie. He'll be playing an elder of Wakanda, which is pretty cool because Forest Whitaker's a pretty old actor, so it makes sense to have Forest Whitaker to be in this movie. The casting for Black Panther is very, very good. You have Michael B. Jordan, you have Danai Gurira from The Walking Dead, you have one of the women from Star Wars Force Awakens playing Maz Kanata, and it's such a great cast of people. And I'm really, really looking forward to watching this movie again. I wonder if he's going to play a bit of a bad character, and that'd be cool if he is. Obviously, he's going to be in the new Star Wars movie, just like Mads Mikkelsen, who's going to be in Doctor Strange in a few weeks. He's going to be in the new Star Wars movie, so yeah, that'd be interesting to see. So Forest Whitaker in Black Panther, very, very good. I'm really looking forward to seeing him. Next piece of news is going to be Scarlett Johansson is talking more about a possibility of a Black Widow movie. I'll read the article first, and then we'll go into what she says about. We'll talk about more in detail of what she thinks of the possibility of a Black Widow movie. So let's go into it. So Scarlett Johansson goes on to say, she's got a rich origins story. Said Johansson, you can bring it back to Russia. You could explore the Widow program, or not. It could be something else. Where do the Avengers go? Are they underground? What happens to them? What happens after it falls apart? Where are many ways to go? So many ways, Johansson says, as she has talked to Marvel often about the potential movie, and that the studio is greatly invested in the character. So hasn't Ava already greenlight or read it yet? Um, it would have to be totally different in any way from the standalone film, as Johansson explained. It would have fit into the idea where to go. Justin said, I think if the fans got wanted it enough, then they'll probably get it like relatively soon. Um, um, yeah. Thing is, things about Black Widow movie. Again, I've taken like just sources from other people, but I think this kind of makes sense. For a Black Widow movie to happen now, when we get in Doctor Strange, Black Panther, Captain Marvel, Spider-Man, all those different things, I think it's a bit too late for a Black Widow movie because a they should have already made a Black Widow movie by now. But then again, who would go and watch a Black Widow movie? Because you have your characters like Captain America, Iron Man, Thor, and like Ant-Man. But then again, who would watch Guardians of the Galaxy and Ant-Man? So, and those movies are really, really popular. So, I think this is it could happen. You could base it off of what happened at the end of Civil War, where she's on the run from the government because she stopped Black Panther for getting his revenge on Bucky for supposedly killing his dad. You could do that movie, but I have a feeling we're going to do a runaway story with Winter Soldier and possibly Black Panther or Infinity War. So we're recycling plot there. So I don't know really. I think maybe Black Widow movie is a bit too late for right now, to be honest. So yeah, I mean it'd be good to see it. I mean I would pay to see it. I mean if they announce tomorrow there's going to be a Black Widow movie, then I'll be pretty happy to see it. But for now, I'm just good with sticking with Captain Marvel, Black Panther, Doctor Strange, Spider-Man, all different things. So yeah, I mean, I'm more excited for those movies than the Black Widow movie, to be honest, or a Hawkeye movie, to be honest. So yeah, that's a fact. Last topic of the night of today is going to be Thor Ragnarok. I've talked about some of the major changes that might be potentially happening in Thor Ragnarok, where I was like, I don't know about this new change they're doing about Ragnarok is going to be a planet where they fight on. This week they did it again, where the director Taika Waititi came out and talked about Thor Ragnarok is going to be ignoring the rest of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Now, before I go into my little opinions about this, let's just read the thing that he said first, and then I'll make my own opinion up, and then we can go there. So, he says, I made an effort to ignore the fact that there were other Thor movie films. I honestly know nothing outside what I'm doing. I'm trying to ignore the rest of the universe, and I just want to make my own awesome movie. I've got a problem with this because he just said he is ignoring the other Thor movies to make his movie even better. I get the fact that he's making his own movie, and that's exciting, possibly, to make a Thor movie. But you can't ignore the fact that Thor 1 and Thor 2 happened, and if you're going to go straight into Thor Ragnarok, saying that the stuff of the Dark Elves invaded Earth never happened, or the stuff in New Mexico didn't happen, then you're obviously gonna retcon what happened in the previous two Thor movies. Yeah, I know Thor 1, it's still good, I still like it, it's on my number 10 of my top favourites. But Thor 2 was bad, but, in a weird way. But the thing is, it's like, if you ignore the rest of the MCU, there have already been reports of potentially Thor being in Doctor Strange, possibly. I'm not going to say anything else, because, don't want to spoil it. But, if you ignore the MCU, that would be a huge mistake to do, because I know he wants to make his own movie, and that's fine. I'm okay with different movies, like being like totally different from each other. Like Ant-Man's a heist movie, Captain America Winter Soldier is a political thriller on origin things. But if you flat out ignore what happened previously to the other Thor movies and even the Avengers movies, your movie is gonna suck because if you say this is Thor 3, those people would have saw Thor 1 and Thor 2 and the Avengers and Avengers Age of Ultron to see what Thor journey is. And when you go into Thor 3, you're going to be like, okay, this is what happened to him after these 4 movies. But if you're saying, no, this is what happened, this is my reboot or whatever, then that's wrong. Because if Thor is already established, this might be me thinking too much into it, but it kind of sounds like it. Thor is already established into the MCU. If you completely retcon everything that happened between Thor 1 and Age of Ultron, you are not wrecking the character development of Thor, you're wrecking the mythology and the trilogy and everything that Thor has been in, completely redundant and useless. Please do not ignore the rest of the MCU. Maybe I'm just overthinking this, but he does say, I honestly know nothing about outside of what not one. No, he says, I honestly know nothing outside of what I'm doing. I'm trying to ignore the rest of the universe and make my own awesome movie. I'm not okay with that. I'm really not okay with that. It's like I don't honestly think this is a good idea to ignore the MCU and create your own movie, because the Thor movies are probably the weakest films of the MCU so far, in my opinion. But if you ignore them, as I keep saying, they're a part of Thor's character development, and it's such a shame if you completely ignore them. It's I don't know. It just doesn't seem right that he just says, I know nothing about what happens outside of what I'm doing, but I'm trying to ignore the rest of the universe. There's also a problem with this statement because you're building up to the Infinity War. Thor Ragnarok might have a small part of what's going to happen in Avengers Infinity War, because Thor's going to be in that movie. If you say, yeah, Thor is completely doing something else, I'm going to shelve Thor into another bit, and Avengers Infinity War, Guardians of the Galaxy, Spider-Man is doing all the other stuff, then what's the point doing this movie then, if you're going to ignore it? Maybe I'm reading this into too much detail, but for me, this is what it sounds like. I'm going to read it again, and then I will probably, I might be overreacting, I don't know. I'll make an effect to ignore the fact that there were other Thor movies. One, he's deliberately ignoring Thor 1 and Thor 2. Don't do that. You can't do that. You need to build off of what happens. They might do, but I don't know. Then the next bit says, I honestly know nothing outside of what I'm doing. I'm just trying to ignore the rest of the universe and just make my own awesome movie. That's cool. I can't wait to see your movie in November next year or October next year or whatever it's going to be. Just don't ignore everything that's going to happen with Thor. Because Thor, we had a build-up with him from Thor 1 all the way to Age of Ultron. If you ignore that development of his character, of why he went off to find the other Infinity Stones, and what happened to Hulk at the end of Age of Ultron, then what's the point of making this movie? Because A, you might be ignoring everything that happened before, and then you're going to say, yeah, it's alright, nothing happened. I don't know. Maybe it's just me reading into it too much, but that's what it screams out to me. They're completely contradicting what happens in Thor 1, Thor 2, Age of Ultron, and Avengers. I hope they don't do this, but if they're gonna do it anyway, then I'm just gonna rate this movie a 5 out of 10 when this movie comes out, because You can't do that for an already established universe movie. You just can't do that. It's just no. That's just all kinds of wrong. But I don't know. It's so stupid to be honest. He's completely ignoring the other Thor movies. That's so dumb. But I don't know. I don't know. Um, yeah. So let me know what your thoughts on this types of news are in the description of the comments below, and let me know what your thoughts on this Thor topic, the Avengers topic, the Doctor Strange runtime, the Moon Knight, Pillsbury, and Forrest Whitaker. So yeah, see you next time. Bye.